and Google Plus as well. Welcome to Video Office Hours. I'm Scott Fox. So today I've got a bunch of interesting things to talk to you about, and I'd love to have your feedback as well. Happy to have you come in our chat room. We're live in a chat room on Google Plus. If you go and look around for Click Millionaires, or if you head over to YouTube, of course. But if you're, most especially if you're a member at clickmillionaires.com, part of our forum, then you can come into the chat room there as well. Even if you're not a Google Plus member, you're welcome to join us. But we use Google Plus because it seems to be, well, it's kind of the coming thing, isn't it, with social networks? Facebook, much harder to market on these days than it used to be, and the usefulness of that social network has declined so much that Google Plus actually seems to be a little more targeted, maybe like Facebook was, say, 2 or 3 years ago. So that's the core is that the Google Plus marketing is more interesting. Plus, Google Hangouts on Air, well, it's free, and it works with the YouTube channel as well, at least when I can get it to work. And we're happy to have you joining us. I gotta turn off my own speaker there. And we're going to talk about Google Plus as well as some other interesting topics today, which would include, well, first of all, whatever you want to talk about, but I've also got some notes and some thoughts for you that have emerged from our Masterminds forum. Now, you may or may not know, clickmillionaires.com is the free version of our public forum, but we also run a Masterminds forum, and that's just a few bucks a month for folks who are, well, they're pretty serious about this stuff, and they want to work more closely with me personally. And the conversations we have over there benefit those members, of course, and every now and then we pull out some nuggets. I'm going to share some of those with you today because we had some really interesting discussions recently about niche selection. A lot of people have trouble picking a niche, and there's a lot of conflicting advice on the web about this, so we're going to talk about that. We've also got some discussion about April Challenges. Now, the April Challenge is a program that we run on clickmillionaires.com and across the internet, of course, with the idea being that our members can pick something to get done. They're going to pick something that can get done, and that will allow them to focus their efforts throughout the month of April and cross something off that endless to-do list. So I'm going to talk about some of our members' April challenges, and hopefully we'll hear from some of them in our chat room and so forth as well, and give us some updates on those April challenges as well as their own questions. Also had some thoughts about free publishing tools and how to prioritize, some SEO questions, and anything else that, of course, you want to talk about. So come on into the forum and join me in the chat room, of course. Let me just type in there to say hello, make sure people realize that's there. Hello. There we go, hello. And hopefully you can see that, and if you're new to Google Plus, you can go over to this, that side of your menus, and the top button is a blue box that, there we go, a top button there that will pop out the chat room, and you can join us in there and speak to us as much as you'd like. All right. So let's see, good to see you all, and let's see, we've got a few people coming in here. I think we've managed to mix everybody up with the links once again, but hopefully folks are finding their way to the correct chat room. And it looks like we are live on YouTube, so that's exciting. Glad to see that working for a change. And let's see, let me just repaste that. Let's see. Let me repaste that here in case folks are listening. Okay. Here we are over here. Okay. And it looks like, yep, we've got 2 Hangouts running concurrently. Okay. Sorry guys, hang on one second.
You want to talk about your?
I don't think it's me. I think it's yours.
So I'm not
Sheila, you have the open window
over here.
Okay. Well, just talk quickly.
Okay.
So I want to put up posts that are to.
Okay. Oh. Hi, Laurie. Good to see you.
Sorry. I want to put up big posts that had to do.
Okay. So well, at least you found your way. We're going to get going here.
I'm trying to figure out if I should just put up these rather long posts or if it's
so
better.
Those of you who are listening to the podcast, I want to apologize to you because this goes on every darn time. We're gradually getting this done.
Because they are so long, I think readability would be more.
So it looks like it's just me and Lori and a bunch of people in another chat room. Hopefully they will find us shortly. Let me just, one more thing here. Beg your patience, one more second here. Let's just add that right there. There we go. Okay, so hopefully people will find their way over here. All right, so Video Office Hours. This is a program that I started a couple years ago to help people figure out, what they could do better. I've been online for 20+ years and made a lot of money at it, and now I write books. Of course, those of you who are here know that, but the most recent books look like this, Click Millionaires. And the idea is that you can live better by being your own boss online and making some money online, hopefully doing something that you enjoy. So we're going to talk about this together today, and including the topics I mentioned a few minutes ago. And this is not a show, it's not a webinar. I don't have something specific to offer you, but if you've got questions that you'd like to discuss, of course, you can chime in the chat or anywhere else, and I'd be happy to try to help you. We're going to try to get everybody included, including the folks that posted earlier in the forum and the questions that they already posted. And I wanted to quickly make a quick announcement about the community stars and thank the contributors that we've had helping out in the forum lately. We recently announced something that I think is kind of groundbreaking, which is a revenue sharing program for our most active members. So if you're part of clickmillionaires.com and you haven't been in the forum lately, well, you now can get paid for this. I'm personally writing checks to folks who are the most active, right? I'm trying to encourage involvement there, and so far we've started out with about half of the banner ad revenue from the site and writing checks to 4 people each month, to those who participate the most, and there are leaderboards on the site and you can see exactly how you're doing, and we'll be happy to have you join that as well. And if you're not yet a member of clickmillionaires.com, well, of course you can read my books. They're on sale at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com and everywhere fine books are sold, and in fact you can even get in for free if you'd like. Just use the phrase office hours as the secret code, and I'll be happy to let you in because we know that you're a loyal member of our community, even if you haven't actually signed up yet or you don't have a book handy. Okay, so all right, so let's get going here with some actual content. Enough folderol about all that. We've got a half dozen people here joining and more coming on. I think people are finding their way over. Let me just test the chat room. Let's see. Anybody see this? Okay. All right, so the first thing I wanted to talk about today is the April Challenge. And the April Challenge, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, is the twice annual event that we hold at clickmillionaires.com to help people accelerate their success, to help figure out what they can do in a 1-month period that will get them to the next level. Now, we all have really long to-do lists. That's one of the blessings, I guess you might call it, of being a solo entrepreneur. So the idea with the challenge is to help find something that you can cross off that list in a month-long period. And the rules are simple. It has to be something that you get done in the month. You can't spend a ton of money on it. You don't have to do it yourself. You can outsource it, but you just can't spend over $1,000 on it. And it has to be something that, well, that was bugging you. So the idea is to get things done that have been lagging, that can have a positive impact on the growth of your internet lifestyle business. So here are some examples. In April, we had Paul from Singapore was increasing the number of his Twitter followers up to 5,000, and he had a new marketing plan underway. Lori Lynn, it is, not Lori Peters, was going to redesign one of her websites, and her goal was very specific, to get 1 sale by the end of the month. And that is exactly why we try to do the April Challenge, is to give people a specific goal, 1 sale by the end of the month. Now, I know 1 sale isn't going to change anybody's life, but 1 sale means that you've figured out the process, okay? So 1 sale is always a good goal. Yvette was trying to get her, just to read everything that was on clickmillionaires.com. Hopefully by now, Yvette, you've done that and gotten yourself going and your first website going. Jasmine was having trouble sticking to her schedule, so she was committing to working on her business at least 6 days a week for 1 hour. So not 1,000 hours, but 1 hour a day. And I think that was a great one, because 1 hour a day can really add up over time. Let's see, Sheila was working on moving the theme of her WordPress site over to Genesis, and also creating a spreadsheet to track the posts that were useful to her in social media so that she didn't repeat things a lot. Christopher had some great ideas, as did Jim. I don't need to read all these straight through, but They include WordPress development, outsourcing the product development for some ebooks and things like that. Christine was setting up her new online magazine, etc., etc., etc. Lots of good stuff, and everybody's been making progress. So congratulations to everyone who has made progress. And if you haven't, then head over to the forum and let us know how we can help. In fact, if you're listening to this later and the podcast or the video replays, then of course the best thing to do is to participate. If you think you can build a business on your own, especially if you're new to this, especially if you're new to both business and technology, going alone is a really tough road, and that's why we have the forum. So come on over to the forum. Be happy to have you help us. We'd be happy to help you over there. Okay. Now let's see. So let's talk about some of these other items, and if those of you in the chat rooms have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. And let me check in quickly back over on our event page and see if we can find people. Let's see. All right. Oh, sorry, folks are still over in that other room. There we go. All right, Kevin is helping me out there. Thank you, Kevin. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Kevin, for hopefully clarifying that, and hopefully we'll have some more people joining us shortly. Confusing. Okay, now I seem to have, there we go. Okay, so, all right, so, well, Lori, looks like you're the only one here so far. Looks like I got some freckles on vacation. Yeah, I guess I did. It does look that way, doesn't it? I was out in the sun a bit. And the lighting here in Southern California brings out the freckles, that's for sure. If you've got anything going on over there, Lori, I'm sorry I missed you, by the way, when you were recently in Southern California. I apologize that was a bit of scheduling challenge there. And hopefully you did get the couple emails I sent you to clarify that situation, and it's good to see you. Okay, so I wanted to talk about a couple things here. All right, so first let's talk about something Jasmine posted in the forum. Jasmine was asking about what areas of focus are best to target when in the beginning stages of traffic building. So Jasmine has recently put up a site about her favorite sort of pets. And so she gave us a list here, and I won't read you all of them, but she put together a schedule that she was trying to rotate among a number of different tasks and trying to decide how to prioritize. This is a key question, and it's a good one that Jasmine asked. It's a key for entrepreneurs because the number one resource you have, especially if you're not already a Click Millionaire like me who's doing this full time, if you're working another job, or even if you're not working a job but you have a lot of other obligations like kids or you're in school or something like that, time is your most precious resource. So the idea is to have a schedule of tasks that Jasmine wants to complete, and then how to prioritize them. So here are some of the examples she gave. Adding new material to her website, adding a blog to her website, streamlining, improving the quality of her website, like design and layout, links and so forth, creating a newsletter, social media posting, posting on forums, reviewing Google Analytics and affiliate link clicks for trends to analyze, and then of course studying and learning other things. These are all good ideas, Jasmine, and all things you do need to do on varying levels. But here's the trick, and here's where I skip to the advice now. Jasmine asked, does anyone have any suggestions of things I might be leaving out? I'd really like to make the most of the little time I have available. All right, now that's exactly the question. So here's what I'd suggest, Jasmine, and we had a good discussion about this in the forum earlier this month, but I wanted to highlight this during office hours because I think this applies to everybody listening. You had 8 items in your list, and then you asked for more. That's a good way to swamp yourself, and overwhelming yourself is one of the biggest difficulties that new online entrepreneurs face. You've got to pick your battles. You've only got so much time to work, as we talked about, and you need to do the things that are going to make the maximum impact for that time. So, without reviewing all the 8 items on her list, I would highly suggest that she downgrades everything that doesn't involve reaching out to customers. I know we all want to put up the perfect website, and we want to write the perfect content, and you want to have a blog that updates on a regular basis because everyone tells you so often that consistency is a helpful thing. All true, but without customers, it's all just fiction. You're not going to be able to keep doing all those other things unless you have some customers. So my suggestion out of the 8 items that Jasmine listed was not to necessarily stop any of them. That's the problem. You kind of need to do all 8 of them on an ongoing basis. But you really need to emphasize number 4, 5, and 6. And in her list, those were social media posting, such as sharing on YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook, and Google+, posting on forums where her target audience posts, and creating an email newsletter. Those are outbound activities, and those are the things that I recommend to all of you who are listening to this, because you can have the best blog in the world, but if nobody reads it, it's worthless. This is like that old thing of if a tree falls in a forest, does anyone hear it? No. So the idea is that you need to spend a lot more time on the outbound activities. Here's an analogy I thought of when I was talking to my own kids, right? A lot of time kids like to play indoors. And that's fun and nice, and it's comfortable and safe. They know where the toys are, the temperature's just right, it's not too noisy, you know, their friends can come over and play with them, they know where the bathroom is, they can get a snack easily. That kind of indoor activity is a lot of fun. But the problem is, it doesn't grow your market. So stretching that analogy, I would recommend to everyone listening to this that if you have 8 items, you don't do them 12.5% each evenly. You emphasize the outdoor activities. So back to the kids for a second. Make the kids, and in this case the kid is you, go and play outdoors. If you play outdoors, you meet new people. You learn new things. You make new friendships. And yes, you may fall and skin your knee. In this case, that skinning of your knee might be a bad blog post you put, or something that wasn't perfect, or some broken links on your website. But by getting out and playing outdoors, where it isn't quite so safe and comfortable, you actually can grow your market. And that's the goal of all this stuff, is for you to have a market and to keep growing it. So my recommendation for everybody here is to spend less time indoors working on your own content, tweaking your website, and doing all those safe things. And get outside where you're maybe not quite so comfortable. Get onto Google+, get onto Facebook, go to those forums you mentioned, and interact with people. This will not only help you build relationships and build an audience, but it will also help you figure out what kind of content you need to be producing, because those people will tell you. They might say that you're able to go and find some better content, or maybe you should do this that way, or they found a broken link. All of these things are helpful, and that's why I'd suggest you go outdoors more often. And Jasmine, downgrade the amount of time you spend tweaking your own site until you have enough people watching who are paying you to care about that. Now again, I know there's only so much time in the day, you can't do all these at the same time, but the idea is to go and outside where you can have a lot more fun and grow your market. All right, I hope that's helpful. All right, let me hop back over here. We've got people coming in. Okay, welcome to those of you who are arriving now from our other Google Hangout, apparently. It looks like Lori is the only one who's figured out how to be in here live. Lori, can I ask you a favor? Can you go over to the chat room on Masterminds and see if you can... There's people in the chat room there trying to figure out where we are, and you figured it out. I can't stop doing this to help them. Is there any way you could pop over on the clickmillionaires.com site and just look in the chat room and drive them? I keep posting the link over there, but people are lost, and that's my fault. But I can't stop this in real time. So if that's possible, if not, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. They can watch the replay, I guess, unfortunately. The problem here is, of course, is that nobody's getting to interact and we're not getting any new questions. So let's see here. If there's anything I can do about that from this side. Okay. Okay. Yes, it looks like. Okay, so Jasmine's asking if there isn't going to be any interaction this time. Jasmine, so this is the very Jasmine I was just talking about. So Jasmine, you can come into the chat room. Let me say that. You can, hold on here. Okay. All right. So we'll keep going until anybody else shows up. Confusion. Okay. Let's put that up there once more. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's keep going. And Lori, if you have any questions, go ahead. Why don't you type into the chat room if I can help you over there. if you're not too busy chasing everybody else over here. And thank you for your help. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about something here that Christine posted.
Did you want me to talk?
And Christine posted about some tools that a tool I hadn't heard about, and then a tool I had. So I thought this was worthwhile sharing in case anybody missed this. She found a new WordPress plugin called Pressit. Pressit sounded useful because it enables you to take snippets of information as well as visual images off the web and add them easily to your website. So this is kind of a snagging tool, snapshot grabbing, sort of like the pin it button, and it can turn any image on the web into a JPEG, and that can be a useful thing for those of you who are publishing. Now, of course, you need to be careful about copyright laws, all right? So I'm not advocating you stealing other people's images, but Pressit sounds like a useful publishing tool that Christine was checking out. Then she also pointed out something called the snipping tool, and I had a question for you guys here. The snipping tool is a screen capture tool that's on a PC that I use all the time, and it's actually in the Start menu on Windows, and at least in Windows 7, and you can grab a snipping tool and do a little screen capture that will save anything you see on the web as a JPEG to your hard drive. Now here's my question. Is this on Macs too? I don't know if it is, because I don't use Macs these days, and I don't know if that snipping tool is a PC-only recommendation, because if it is, we'll need to update that in the forum so Mac users don't get confused. All right, and then I wanted to make another point about a tool that's really excellent for any of you who are trying to do a lot of screen captures. And here's why you might be doing screen captures. Screen captures are used a lot when you are producing, say, ebooks or any kind of publishing. If you go and you're doing especially walkthroughs and tutorials, you can take a screen capture very easily, a screenshot of something. You can even put your mouse on the screen or highlight things and that sort of thing, underline, add some explanatory text, and copy those images into, say, Microsoft Word, or make a PDF or a Kindle format, whatever you're working in. And that kind of screen capture is really useful for creating that kind of illustration for information products. Now, there's a tool called Snagit. Snagit is actually a paid product. It's a piece of software, and I don't know what it costs these days. $39, maybe $59, something like that. But Snagit is a tremendously powerful screen capture program. If you use Snagit, it's made by a company called TechSmith, and Snagit, spelled just like it sounds, is a really powerful steroids version of screen capturing tools. Well, thank you, Lori. Lori says Command-Shift-4 on a Mac will do a screenshot. So that's useful maybe for Mac folks that didn't know that. But Snagit is way beyond that, and Snagit will actually help you grab any image you want. It can add shadows and text overlays, all different colors. You can cut and paste, copy and paste, and edit the images themselves, so it's a combined image editor. It can capture not just a piece of the screen, but a whole web page, like it will scroll down and make a JPEG of a whole web page. It can record videos even. It's a very powerful capture tool, and I've been using it for a long time, and I forgot about it until Christine mentioned it in the forum, and I wanted to point out to those of you who are looking for something like that, I've had a real good look with Snagit, and you can find that online. I'm sure if you Google it, Snagit is a useful tool that I think could help a lot of you guys too. Especially, I find that kind of tool useful when you're creating information products, because information products are often about doing things on the internet, and you can do very good tutorials and capture step-by-step guidance for how you do things with lots of little screenshots. In fact, a lot of you have probably seen the output of my Snagit work if you've read my books, or if you have signed up for ClickMillionaires.com in the forum. The tutorials that show you the step-by-step, those are all images captured with Snagit. And if you look at them, you'll notice that they're not just plain flat images, but they actually have some drop shadows behind them, and often there's annotated text of different colors, or arrows, and circles, and highlights, things like that. Snagit makes all of that a lot easier. So there you go. Hope that's helpful to you. Okay, so speaking of things like that, I wanted to mention also that if you're a ClickMillionaires.com member, you might be looking for more social media followers, friends and followers. If you head over to ClickMillionaires.com, we have caravans. And a caravan is where we all follow each other around, and we do this on Facebook or Twitter, Google+, Pinterest is a new one we started, even YouTube. And if you're looking for more friends and followers, go to ClickMillionaires.com, scroll to the bottom of the home page, and there's actually a bunch of links to the different caravans, and you can join in, put in your Twitter handle into the Twitter caravan, for example, and a bunch of us will start following you in return, and it's a good way to meet new people and build your social media follower accounts as well. All right, looks like Kevin found us too. So at least a couple folks are joining us live here. Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for being here. Sorry for the confusion as usual. Figuring this out bit by bit. Looks like Lori helped provide some instructions, so thank you, Lori, for getting people over here one by one. All right, so Kev or Lori, if you've got questions, go ahead and pop into the chat room, or I can put you on the microphone, of course, if you'd like as well, or I'll just keep talking. About halfway through here, and it looks like Lori's talking here. Hold on, I'm not hearing you. Let's see.
Oh, you can hear me?
Go ahead, Lori, talk some more. I see your lips moving.
Well, I had questions about consulting price.
All right, well, guess that's not working. Sorry about that. I can't hear. Kevin, your microphone is muted, it looks like. Can you try speaking just as a test here, my friend?
Yeah, sure.
No, nothing there either. Okay. All right, well, this is a Hangout on Air. Okay, and I guess that mutes folks, so maybe next time we won't do this, it turns out. Let me make a note of that so I don't screw this up again. Okay. All right, so I guess it's my turn to keep talking then, and I will do that because that's why I'm here, I guess, right? Okay. So I wanted to share, as I mentioned earlier, something that I thought was pretty cool, a new revelation, well, that's kind of a strong word, but a new perspective maybe on niche selection. This is something that came up in our masterminds group a few weeks ago, and I've been looking for an opportunity to share it with you because I've been doing niche selection for myself and my own businesses for quite a while, and I've also been counseling other people on this for many years about how to pick a niche. And the how to pick a niche question is one that a lot of people get really stuck on because picking a niche is obviously really important, but it also seems to paralyze people because they're so afraid of getting it wrong. So obviously in my books and my years of podcasts and blog posts and YouTube videos, there's lots of discussion about these sort of things, about picking niches. But there's also a new perspective that was new even to me that just came up recently. I want to share this with you. So our good friend Tony, who's based in the UK, he was confused and concerned, as I think a lot of people are, about this advice that you get everywhere about do what you love, find your passion. Do what you love and the money will follow. You have to be passionate about something. And there's obviously a tension there between being passionate about something but other people maybe not caring. And the bottom line is you may be passionate about something, but if nobody else cares, all your passion isn't going to make you any money. So that's the problem. So I would suggest a couple things here. There needs to be an in-between found in terms of picking a niche. As you know, most business gurus, they focus on maximizing profit above all else. So I think that goes too far. If you go to business school, for example, it's all about capital, efficiency of capital and maximizing ROI, and those are valid instincts and things that I think are important. But they're especially important if you're trying to grow a big company. Like if you want to raise venture capital and take a company public and have lots of employees and things like that, maximizing profit so that you can incentivize your shareholders and reward them is really important. Now, I'd like to maximize profit also, but personally, I define profit a little differently. As Click Millionaires, we think not just about the money profit, but also the lifestyle benefits that accrue to those of us who manage to work for ourselves doing things we like. So I think there's an in-between, a crossover between what people are really passionate about and what customers are willing to pay for. And here when I say customers, I mean advertisers also, because advertisers really are your customers in a lot of cases, right? So you need to find something that's between being passionate and what other people care enough to pay you for. And this overlap is really tough for a lot of people. But that's one that we've discussed before, so that's not my revelation today. But the distinction that we're making is when is a good niche so niche-y that it turns into fringe, right? Because if it's too fringe, by fringe I mean you care and not enough other people do. Or maybe you care but only 6 other people or 60 other people do. Or maybe it's 6 million but none of them have any money. You need to find a niche that isn't too fringe, that has commercial appeal to other people. Now, as you know, on clickmillionaires.com, we've got a great free PDF called the Niche Business Identification Checklist. It's a Niche Business Identification Checklist, and it's under the tab of, let's see, it's the top menu. If you go to clickmillionaires.com, it's under, where is it? Oh, how to start a business. Imagine that. It's under how to start a business. And there's a PDF there with 30 different categories that I use personally to rank new ideas. And you can score them, and it helps give you an objective viewpoint on what are good niche ideas. So I'd recommend that to all of you. But the new perspective, and it's a free download, okay? It's free, 100% free. The difficulty of finding something, making a success of something if you don't have a passion for it. But here's an interesting point, and here I'm getting to the point now, what we found in the Masterminds forum. People are more passionate if you are passionate. And being passionate is actually somewhat contagious. And that's something I hadn't really focused on before. And you'll find that you don't necessarily have to be over the moon passionate about something to make it interesting enough for you to make money from. So you don't have to be an evangelist for something that you just want to talk about it 24/7. You just have to have a fundamental curiosity about something enough that it keeps you going. You like something enough to want to learn more. That kind of passion can actually be enough. If you don't have that passion, that curiosity to learn more about something, if you feel like you already know it all in a field, well, that may not be the one for you because you're going to get bored. So this kind of passion is not the one. Usually, when you think passion, you think like romance novel passion, right? Oh, you know, love on fire, that sort of stuff. And I think that word passion has been so overused that a lot of new entrepreneurs think if they're going to find a business, a niche online that's going to be successful, that they have to be so excited about it that they can't ever walk away even to take a day off, right? That's not the kind of passion that you necessarily need, and I think that's a big, important realization. You can make money with something that you may not be over the moon about, but that you like enough to be excited about it when you talk to other people. I used to have a job. I had a corporate job. I had a lot of corporate jobs, but it was a job I hated. And you know what the best thing was for me to get excited about the job again? It's when I interviewed people. I was a hiring manager, and I would interview people, and when you talk to people, you naturally, you tell them the good stuff, right? Because it wasn't a terrible place to work. It just wasn't a great fit for me. And I would go and spend 20 minutes or an hour with these people, and they would ask the questions, like, you know, well, this is a great thing about it, and this is a great thing, and it got me really excited. So the very act of talking about something, especially with other people that share that interest, can stoke your passion up to a higher level and perhaps enable you to build a business around something that you think you might only be moderately interested in. So my point is that passion doesn't have to be up to here. It maybe just be here. And if you know about it all already, that's too much. Finding an area in which you want something to learn is important. And you know why I know this is true? Well, I know it's true from my own point of view. But it's also because if you look around at a lot of the people who are really successful, and usually that means money, right? Especially all the gurus online. They've been singing the same song for years and years and years. And this is true offline too. Like I have a doctor. He is so bored with medicine, he will hardly even look in my ears or whatever when I get a checkup, right? He's so bored with it. But he's also a pianist in a rock band. So if I ask him when his next gig is, his eyes light up. That's his passion. He's just doing the gig, but he's still getting paid, and he's keeping it going. So you need to find that balance, just like the doctor or anyone else of these gurus. They're still getting paid, and in a lot of cases you can automate a lot of that support stuff as you grow the business and grow the passion to the point where you may not be so excited about it anymore, but you put a couple months or years into it, it's making good money, and you outsource the process to junior people, and you become the figurehead for it. That's another way to turn a semi-passion into a business. Now the last point is that your own passion can be magnified by how much value you think it offers others. So if you are doing something that you're excited about, that's great, and the more excited the better, obviously. But if it's also helping other people, that may mean an additional benefit that you didn't see coming. So if you have experience in your own life, maybe you've dealt with some kind of loss or sickness, something like that, and you can help other people through those situations, you'll find that that painful experience actually becomes something positive because you find that you're helping other people with it. And it may have been something you didn't even want to talk about anymore. But if you see other people benefiting, it can increase your passion again and turn something from a so-so idea into a more passionate idea. And this is true for all of us, right? We love feedback. So if you start putting things out there and people start reacting, you can find that your own curiosity is sparked. Then you want to do a little more research, you get more involved, you find you're helping people. This all is a circular, virtuous cycle of positive reinforcement. You were so-so on the idea, but you got a little more involved, you talked to some other people, they benefited from your advice, that made you feel good, you researched a little more, you found that you didn't know everything, that there was more to learn. That gives you more and more of a niche, something that you can be excited about, even if it's not the passion that they talk about all the time in all these books and guru courses and so forth. So I hope that's helpful to you. Am I making sense? It looks like we have a bunch of people have finally found us in the video office hours as well. Hi guys, thanks for joining me, finding your way over here. If I'm making sense, I'd be happy to hear that, and if I'm not, even more so, because I'm trying to make this interactive. And that kind of contagiousness, I'm not sure what the noun is there, for a topic can really help you increase your own enthusiasm. And my point with all of this, I think, is not to necessarily think that you have to find the #1 topic that's going to be the be-all and end-all for your whole life. You're just creating a blog, okay, or a little e-commerce store, or a YouTube channel, or a podcast. This isn't going to run your life forever. And if it does get really big and successful, well, it will be big enough that you'll hire other people to run with it for a while. So I think your passion doesn't have to be overriding for the rest of your life. Find something you can be really excited about, or even moderately excited about, for 6 months and see where it takes you. I think that's probably a high enough threshold that it could get you going and help you start making some money and get you over the real hurdle that I'm addressing here, which is the analysis paralysis that so many people suffer. They get paralyzed, worried about trying to find a niche. If you just pick one and get going, I think you'll find more success than you suspected by picking something that you had even a casual interest in, but that meets the other criteria that I just laid out. All right, so enough about niche selection. Let's see how our friends in the chat room are doing. Let's see there. Hi, guys. Hopefully you can see the chat room. It's over there. And if I could be helpful to you, let me know. Good to see Chuck and Cheryl and Jasmine and Kevin and Lori and other folks joining us as we speak. Jasmine, we covered a bunch a little earlier in the show when you probably missed it, but you can catch it in the replay. We covered a bunch about the prioritization question that you'd posted in the forum, so if that's helpful to you, I think we probably covered it in the forum pretty well, but I talked about it a bit more, and if that's helpful to you, I'll suggest that you watch the replay later, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Now, it looks like other folks everybody's muted, so I guess the way we're doing today doesn't allow anybody else to talk, which I apologize for. There's Cheryl, and there's Jasmine. Yeah. No, nobody. You guys can hear me though, so I guess I just have to keep talking. So my apologies. Google has trumped us once again and confused the crap out of me and made me do the wrong thing. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, so let's see. Let me just check my notes here, and I think I might be running out of things to talk about unless somebody has a question. Let's check the chat. Oh, Lori, sorry, you did have a question. You were talking about consulting. Yes. Let's see. Lori is a consultant, and she would like to raise her prices. She was charging $25 an hour, and someone told her that was too little. A teacher said I could charge up to $100, and I'm sending out mailings with one or two people who put my... Okay. So Lori, it was also suggested not to ask for hourly, but to be on retainer. Okay. Okay, so several questions there. So the teacher in this case would be someone in the graduate program at NYU where Lori's doing a digital marketing program, and I think I would agree with your teacher there, Lori. And it was also suggested with sending out mailings to people who bought your book. Right, that's a great target market for your upsell, for sure. Okay, so how to price yourself as a consultant. Now, there's no right answer here because it depends a lot on the market, but as you know, I'm happy to talk about this stuff because I've done a lot of this myself. $25 an hour does sound like not very much. However, if that's enough for you, then that's a great price, right? Because I think you would rather have several bookings or many bookings per week at that price than 0 bookings at $1,000 an hour. So this is very much a personal preference and personal economic situation sort of thing, right? So That being said, I think there are certain minimums and maximums. I've found in my consulting work that if you go above about $400 or $500 an hour, that tends, obviously, the number of clients drops off, especially if you're targeting individuals. And that's my point, Lori. If you're targeting individuals, $25 is probably a good floor. And if you get up above about $200 or $300 an hour, unless you have some very specific, well-known expertise, that's going to be hard to charge any more than that. So that means the sweet spot's somewhere between $25 and probably $200 an hour. My guess is if you've been charging $25 an hour, you'd be pretty happy to get more bookings at $100 or $150 an hour, which of course is probably more where you'd like to see your prices. So how do you get there? Well, I would think that, first of all, following up with people who bought your book is an excellent idea. You might try something that a lot of people do when you see consulting and coaching sort of advice for sale online, which is first 15 minutes free or first half an hour free sort of thing, and then get people in. But I'm also, and I think that's fine, I've never done that myself because I always felt a little awkward trying to then hang up on somebody and say, okay, your 15 minutes are up, but you don't want to pay? Okay, sorry, goodbye. That always seemed kind of strange to me, so I've never tried that, to be blunt. My private coaching call rate for years has been $250 an hour, and actually a bunch of you on this call I've done that with, right? So that's a rate that for me has been enough to, I'm not getting rich doing that, but it's worth to take the call, and it's in reach of most people. And of course our Masterminds members get a discount on that, of course, like you. But to get up from 25 to 50, I think it's important to post a number. There's nothing that bugs me more when I go to a site and they do something like, call us for details or something like that. That just seems to me so old school and so like I just know I'm going to get sold, right? And I want to know. And the problem is that if you don't post something, people have no idea, right? You might post nothing and your rate is only $10 an hour, but if you post nothing, people are going to go away because they think it might be $500 an hour. They don't have any idea, right? You've got to give people an idea. So, Lori, here's a suggestion. You might say rates vary from $25 to $100 an hour depending on your needs or something. And that way people at least know, it's like, oh, okay, there's, I don't have to mortgage my house to talk to Lori, but 25 to 100, okay, so maybe she'd charge me 50. That gives them an idea. And then you could get them on the phone and say, okay, what are you talking about? Okay, that sounds like, $50 or something. And that's still not as clear as I would like, but it would give you a little wiggle room and would also at least give people that critical ballpark so that they know whether they are even going to consider you for coaching services. So I hope that might help. The other angle is to you can post packages on your site, and you could say $50 for 1 hour, or $75 for 2 hours, or $300 for 5 hours, or something, whatever sort of volume discount you might want to get. It seems to me that your book about subscription box companies is a perfect place to upsell. When people buy that book, and you're an expert, you're the author. It seems like a pretty good follow-on. I would consider even more specifically putting something in the book. Since it's an ebook, you can do this, I presume. Add a special offer. Special offer. You bought the book, 50% off your first hour with Lori, or buy one get one free, or a special deal, only $25 for your first hour, and that sort of stuff, so that people are directly upsold right from that experience. And in particular, I would think that an introductory rate is the other thing to mention, and I've done this many times. You might say, oh, I'm happy to talk to you for only $25 an hour. That's the first hour. If you want to go beyond that, it's 50 or 75 or whatever. So that kind of idea of like it's a friendly get acquainted rate. That's what I've literally used that phrase many times. Like, okay, well, we can do this together. This is kind of a get acquainted rate for this amount of time or this project. And if you want to expand beyond that, then we'll have to talk about my normal rates, and I think most people understand that. So, all right, so I hope that was helpful, and of course the rest of you, if you'd like to chime in on that with consulting suggestions, let me know. Let me just check the chat room here. Let's see, 6 people so far consulted with, and they're coming to me. Good. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you, Scott. You're welcome. Nice to see you. And I think that that's a good idea for you, as we talked about, I think, at our mastermind meeting last time, when you could all talk to me a little easier, that the natural upsell that you have going there, and the fact that people are paying you already, Sounds like a great idea. You know, the other things that you're mentioning here in the chat room, you know, that's good, but I would focus on the money, honey. That's that's where I think, you know, if people are paying you there, that's what I would focus on. So, okay. So, all right. So, Chuck or Cheryl or Jasmine, Kevin, anybody else, if you've got other questions for me, let me know. This has been a little less interactive than usual, so I'm about out of material. But you can let me know if there's anything you'd like to talk about. Jasmine, thanks for all your help in the forum lately. You've been busy in there, and it looks like you're having fun. I'd love to hear an update on your April challenge. We were talking earlier about April challenges, and you were really trying hard to dedicate some weekly time or even daily time to your projects. So I hope that had worked out. Oh, do you think you can unmute? Will that work? Maybe I can control that. Hold on, I'm muted. No. I see your lips moving. I'm sorry. All right, well, we'll have to do some... Oh, well, there's your picture. No. All right, well, sorry about that. We're going to have to figure this out for next time. We'll do it the other way so that you guys can talk too. But I can see you smiling, so that's a positive. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
All right. Okay, so Kevin says, what do you think a good rate for a web designer is? I've been wondering about that lately. That's a tough one, Kevin, and this is true for Lori too, right? There's no right answer. I've seen rates for web designers anywhere from $20 to thousands of dollars. As you know, that's a field that is really spread out internationally as well. So $20 goes a lot farther in Slovenia or Calcutta than it does in Chicago, and that's the competition that you have as a web designer, unfortunately. So I think the advice I just gave to Lori is probably in the same ballpark, although like Lori, I would encourage more than $25 an hour, just so that you know, people probably take you more seriously the more you charge. But a web design is also different in the sense that you could actually offer project-based bids, and that's nice, right? Because then you could say, well, I estimate this will be whatever 12 hours, and therefore it's $600 or something, and that's $50 an hour, and that's a nice way to think about things, especially if you include some amount of follow-up and that sort of thing with a web design package. I don't know how you've been charging so far, Kevin, but hourly is often hard for people who are non-developers to even understand, so packages are often more helpful. Okay. Jasmine says, can you ever be too passionate about something? Sometimes I think it would be easier to have a topic I could treat in a more objective, business-like manner. That's a good point, Jasmine. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm going to write that down. I keep thinking about writing another book that would maybe be about niche selection, because I've thought a lot about this, and yeah, I think that's another angle that is worth discussing, so let's discuss it. I think you can be too passionate about something. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who runs a large community in a specific business, an industry that she'd been in for a long time, and therefore she knows a lot of the people that populate her forums, and knows them personally, like well outside of the internet, like since before this was all online, right? And it's really hard for her to moderate the forum, for example, because sometimes it's her friends, right? And she can't say, hey, Fred, you know, that's inappropriate, you know, you're suspended or whatever. And it's hard for her to accept advertising, perhaps, from certain people in the industry that she knows are not, you know, maybe up to snuff. And being personally involved isn't exactly the same thing as passionate, but I guess she was passionate because she was at it so long, and that's why she knows these people. So yeah, Jasmine, I think that's a valid point. Yeah, okay, well, okay, that's a follow-up question about AdSense. I'll get that in a second. That's a good point. But I think that being too passionate means that it can also take the fun out of it, and that's a problem for people sometimes. If your passion is you know, building Lego sculptures, and suddenly you have to be writing and blogging and podcasting and YouTubing about Lego sculptures all the time, there may not be any time left on the weekends for you to enjoy the Lego sculptures anymore, and that can be an issue for people for sure. I've had, even myself sometimes, I've been on trips and I think, you know, I should record a video because I'm this cool I'm in Las Vegas at a convention or something, and this is make a cool video. I'm like, I just want to relax. Everything has to be business, and that's a valid concern there as well. So yeah, you're intimately involved with your rats and your pets there. So I still think it's a good niche though. So I would hate to see you back away, but I hear you. It might take some of the fun out of that if you feel like you have to do things. Agreed. Now your other thing about AdSense. Jasmine says, like how some of us don't want to use AdSense because it's not always related and could be contrary to our values. Now, this is an excellent point because it means that even if you're still excited about the content itself and the community and customers that you have and so forth, whatever you're building, the monetization strategies may force you into doing things or into relationships that you're not comfortable with. And that's a really good point because it happens all the time. It literally happened to me. What's today? Today's Wednesday. On Friday, because I had a guy come in and he'd been bugging me by email with a bunch of ads. He wanted to do a big ad buy on ClickMillionaires.com. You guys would have seen these ads, and I looked at the ads and he was offering a bunch of money, and I just said, I'm sorry, those ads don't look like ads I want on my website. I don't. They were promoting sort of get-rich-quickie stuff. If you look at the name of our community, ClickMillionaires.com, you'd think it was get-rich-quick, but we're not. So he was just some ad buyer with a budget, and he had a bunch of ads, and they were like this kind of like, $10,000 overnight, through this amazing push-button system, and I had to turn it down. And I can do that, but not everybody can, and it can put you in an awkward position. So I sympathize with your concern. With AdSense specifically, though, there are a couple levers that you can pull to reduce that problem. You can use AdSense screening. You can block certain types of ads. There are category checkboxes you can block, like gambling, casino ads, or cigarette ads, or alcohol ads, or pornography ads. There are checkboxes in there that can help you narrow things, and you can also block specific domains. Now, this is a little bit after the fact, so you might see ads on your site and not realize that they had been there and then have to go and block them retroactively, but it still is possible. So AdSense is not quite the blanket forced upon you ad display approach that people often think. You actually can screen and moderate the ads from AdSense a fair bit, and I'd encourage you to check that out if that's what your concern is, because I've done that many times and blocked competitors, for example, or things that I didn't think were kosher looking, or appropriate to the trust that my audience has put in me. So, and while we're on that note, if any of you see things advertising on ClickMillionaires.com or my other sites that doesn't look appropriate, please let me know. I'll be happy to try to reduce that. The trick with that, sorry, just another thought, is that these days a lot of the ads that people see actually follow them due to cookies in their own browser. So it may not be your site that's displaying things. The things that you see when you visit your site may be different than the things that your customers see, because they may have just been on Amazon.com shopping for something, and then they come to your site and they see an ad for that television or pair of shoes or whatever. But when you go to your site, you see something completely different. So that does complicate the issue a bit. But regardless of that, AdSense will let you block the ads that you don't want to have displayed on your site. So, Google, Lori says, Google takes info from your Gmail and puts it in ads, right? Well, I think we've all seen that, right? That's a little scary. So yeah, that's a scary and ongoing problem for all of us. All right, well, it looks like we're about out of time. I wanted to wrap up with a cool quotation like we often do on this show. I ran across this one the other day. I forget where I saw it online, but this one I thought was very cool, so I wanted to share it with you before we finish our show today. And this is from a gentleman named Francis Chan, who I don't know, never heard of, but he's apparently a preacher and the author of a book called Crazy Love. And here's his quotation. I'll leave you guys with this thought because I thought it was a good one. Your greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding in life at all the wrong things. Your greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding in life at all the wrong things. And I think this applies really well to those of you who are interested in Click Millionaire lifestyle businesses, because those of us that do pursue these kind of lifestyle businesses are usually alumni or graduates or refugees from the corporate world one way or another. And the problem is if you get too successful in a traditional job, you'll end up succeeding at it, but that may not have been the right thing for you. And I have many friends like this, friends from graduate school especially. They spent all these years going to school, and then they ended up careers that they have to do because they invested so much in it, and they're really unhappy, but they feel trapped. So my message to you guys is don't succeed at the wrong things. Don't be afraid of failure. Try succeeding or failing at the right things, and you'll get farther faster. You don't want to be a great clerk or a great book reader, right? So many of my audience members, like some of you guys, they get in an analysis paralysis, a research phase that goes on forever. Reading isn't going to make you rich. Being a good email sender isn't going to make you rich. Watching more YouTube videos is not going to help you past a certain point. You got to put down the tools of research and use the tools of action instead. So I encourage you, like Francis Chan says, don't be afraid of failure, but be afraid of succeeding in life at the wrong things. Don't be a spectator. Participate. Get on and find the right things for you and take a swing at it. So thank you to Francis Chan for that suggestion. And thank you for being here today. Regardless of our technical difficulties, we've done it again. And I hope that I'll see you guys in the forum real soon. We're coming up near the end of a month, so our Community Star Awards will be awarded again soon. This month, again, they actually have cash bonuses with them. The Community Cash Awards are back, and that will pay you for your participation and for helping other people and for helping make ClickMillionaires.com the friendliest lifestyle business coaching forum on the internet. So thanks for being here, and next time we'll do it so you can talk back too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again real soon, and head on over to the forum, and hey, don't forget to share this. When you see this replays go up, please share it on Twitter and Facebook and iTunes and all those other places. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon, I hope. Bye-bye.